The real reason why Jon Jones is the most hated UFC fighter of all time is not because of his domestic violence disputes. It's not because of his hit and run cases or his failed drug tests. The truth is, it's because of his Christian faith, as you can see it tattooed right there on his chest, Philippians 4-13. That is why he is most hated. And I say that because Jon Jones had haters before he gave you a reason to hate him. Jon Jones had people in the comment sections. I know because I lived it. I was on Sure Dog. I was on the Underground. I was on the YouTubes. And I remember the comment sections and the forums and all of that, okay? And back then, people were hating on the fact that he was a Christian. They didn't like it. They didn't like Christian fighters in general. I mean, there's so many atheists. Not that, there's necessarily anything wrong with that. I'm all for freedom, and if you want to be an atheist, be an atheist. But don't then shit on someone who wants to be a Christian. You get me? If a fighter wants to thank God after the fight, you should not be in any comment section talking crazy. You should not be live streaming and talking crazy. But the fact is that there's a lot of fans in this sport, in the community, who don't believe in God, and they have a almost adversarial take on God, and they mock God, they mock the faith, they mock religions, whether it's Islam, whether it's Christianity, whatever it is, they mock it. It's not crazy for me to say that. I haven't heard anyone else say this. I think I'm the first one to bring this up, but it's a fact, man. Beneil Dariush gets on the mic and thanks God. Beneil Dariush never had no domestic violence disputes that I've heard of. Beneil Dariush never hit a pregnant lady with his car and ran off. So it's not that, bro. It's not that. In fact, I know it's not that because y'all support Chael Sonnen, who is just open and honest about his demons. He steers into it, as he says. He's open and honest that he's like, yeah, I cheated. Yeah, what's up? What about it? You know what I mean? If Jon Jones did that, y'all, I've heard you say, oh, if Jon Jones just dropped the act. That's what it is. It's the perceived act. You guys perceive it as an act that he's a Christian or whatever, but that's the truth. The truth is, Jon Jones thanks Jesus Christ after a fight, and you sit there and you roll your eyes and you go, yeah, did you thank Jesus Christ after you hit the pregnant lady and ran off and then came back and took your money and drugs and ran off again? Really? You know what I mean? And I hear where you're coming from, but let's just be honest about it, okay? Because there's a lot of fighters out there who, got domestic violence cases on them. There's a lot of fighters out there who got X, Y, and Z on them. And we still say rest in peace, Anthony Johnson. You get what I'm saying? Like, nobody's perfect in this world, bro. Like, nobody's perfect. But if you're a Christian, you gotta be perfect. And if you're not perfect, stone after stone after stone will be thrown at you. Even though everyone lives in a glass house, those people throwing stones, they're lucky they don't have a spotlight on them from the time they were only 23 years old. And not just that, but Jon Jones, youngest UFC champion ever, guys, okay? Youngest UFC champion ever, 23 years old. The world is his oyster. Tall, young man, a fighter, can kick anyone's ass in the room everywhere he goes. Women are going to throw themselves at you. People are going to invite you to their club just so they could advertise at their club, yo, Jon Jones is going to be here tonight. And then they sell out the club. People will pay you $50K, $100K, $300K, whatever. People will pay you to appear at their restaurant, at here, at there. The world is now his oyster. And Dana White said it best. Back when he beat Shogun for the title, I believe that's when it was. It might have been before, but I'm pretty sure it was when he beat Shogun for the title. He said, the biggest challenge for Jon Jones now is how he handles the fame, how he handles the notoriety, how he handles all this stuff. Dude, if you guys go back and you watch some of the Ultimate Fighter, the early seasons, okay? There's guys getting kicked off the show because they went out partying thinking they were famous UFC guys, and you're just on the Ultimate Fighter show. You're a scrub level right now, okay, buddy? You're not a champion even. You're not even in the UFC yet officially. You haven't earned a contract. You're on the show. You're on the Ultimate Fighter, but you haven't earned a contract with the UFC. So imagine Jon Jones, who not only had a contract, not only on the roster, not only a contender, but a champion, bro. At 23, world is his oyster. Anywhere in the world too. It's not like, oh, UFC is only popular in America. Nah, bro. If he goes to Brazil, they know who he is. Jon Jones, Jon Jones. You know, if he goes anywhere, they know where he is because this sport is so global. So y'all want to sit here and act like, you know, and like you guys would have done any better in his shoes. You don't know what you might have done worse. You don't know what you would have done. So that's why it's important not to judge people. That's why it's important to realize that we're all imperfect people. We're all, you know, human. And only God can judge, bro. At the day of judgment, Jon Jones will have his day, just like you will have your day and I will have mine. But one thing I'm not going to do is sit here and throw stones at a guy who I know, you know, is a flawed individual like myself. Unless you could sit there and truly and you can't. You'd be a liar and you'd be disingenuous if you were like, oh, I've never done anything wrong. We've all done wrong. We've all been the bad guy in someone's story. Okay, so it is what it is. The reason Jon gets the hate though is because he's Christian and because he stands by that till this day, and people cannot stand it. Okay, if Chael Sonnen did the same gimmick, people would hate Chael. But the fact is, Chael doesn't. Chael plays the almost like I'm Satan card. Like, yeah, I'll tell you exactly who I am and how dastardly and low down I am. I'm a gangster from Westland, Oregon, who's gonna, you know, I'll stab you in the front kind of portrayal. So it's just very interesting. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, whether you agree or disagree. It does not matter. Just join the discussion, follow for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.